Hello, my beautiful and valuable friends, and welcome to this channel. My name is Tetivik, and today I will be your guide into the intriguing world of dating. If you like this subject and you would like to know more about self-love, self-respect, dating in general, or in any other personal development subject, then please contact me below and we can set one-to-one private consultations with you. This topic is one of the most interesting topics, and I think it is both for women and men. So I am sure there will be a lot of people sitting and watching in different ages. Because you know what? Dating is part of our life. And doesn't matter if we're 18 and we're in school and we fall in love for the first time. Doesn't matter if we're 25 and we finished our degree in a university and we want to start dating seriously. Doesn't matter if we're 35 and we want to settle down and actually build a family, or 65 or 85 and we want to start over. Dating is a natural part of human being. It is as natural as breathing. It is as natural as walking or talking. Therefore, we need to approach this subject with love and respect this subject and definitely learn more about this subject. We will talk about effective, successful, and productive dating. Dating that has a purpose, dating that has a meaning, dating that has a goal in the end. So it can help you to lead your own goal towards the love life that you crave. Because you know, everything in life has a purpose. Everything you do should have an end goal, and you need to know what is my end goal. Therefore, dating with a purpose, dating with a meaning, it always is much more beneficial than dating without knowing why you're doing that. And I have created different series to give you more opportunity to study this subject in more depth. Because you know, very often you see in a YouTube very short videos, they can be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. Of course, it is not about the length, but usually these videos give you maybe 10 or 15 steps, which are very short, to teach you how to date or teach you how to be more effective in dating. And when you watch that, you feel that, oh, okay, I learned something. And when you turn that video off, you thought, what did I actually learn? Because there were so many different things, and actually the person didn't go into the depths of any of these points. So you kind of feel still hungry about this, you know, subject. This is the mental food that you lack. Therefore, what I will provide in this series, there will be 25-30 minutes of each part of the series. You can watch whenever it is more convenient for you. It's like, you know, watching Friends. You can watch 30 minutes, you can get the laughter, you can upbeat yourself and then carry on. And this is exactly how I would like this to be for you. Easy, light, and yet feed you emotionally and as well mentally, to give you the answers that you're actually looking for. And you know, I will tell you also that this subject is never-ending subject. So we cannot fully cover everything, but we will try our best to cover the most important aspect that will be beneficial for you. And take this as you going to the buffet or, you know, Swedish table where you can actually choose what to eat. It's not a set menu. There is a buffet. You can choose whichever food you want, you know, from whichever cuisine, and feel free to approach this subject that way. If you like something, then definitely take it, taste it, you know. If you fancy something, definitely go for that. But if something is not your cup of tea, then that is fine too. Just enjoy this whole process. In this first series, we will discuss what dating is. We will understand what dating is. We will also set the standards for our own personal dating life, because what is good for you maybe is not good for somebody else, or what is nice for somebody else will not be really interesting for you. So we are all different, and it is beauty of life that we are all different. You know, plants are different, colors are different, seasons are different. So why not us people to be different and want different things? That is completely fine. And then the third, we will also study and master dating as a skill. So these are the 3 different elements we are going to discuss. We will understand what dating is, we will set our own dating standards, and then we will study and master dating as a skill. So let's dive in. So number one, let's understand what dating is. Discussing any subject without understanding the core meaning of it could be detrimental, actually. It is dangerous to talk about something without digging in and finding out what is the real meaning behind this topic. What is dating? And very often we never ever even ask that question. We just dive into dating, we jump into this pool and we start dating, and we don't even know what is dating or what is dating for me. You need to ask, what is dating for me? So it is a very personal subject, it is like your own taste in clothing or food. It is very personal. Therefore, create that ambulance, create that image of what dating is for you, and then it will be easier for you to live life and have more successful dating life. So understanding what dating is, we need to look at this word, dating. It's a verb, it's something very active. If you think about it, dating can be only an action. It can be only an active action. It is nothing passive. It cannot exist by itself. And if you do not practice it, if you do not do anything with it, it won't exist. So dating depends solely on you, nobody else, just you. It is your choice. So it's definitely an action. It is also a process. So it's not an end destination, but it's a journey. You go step by step, it's a journey. You do small steps after each other until you reach your goal. Dating is a process of finding the love that you want. Therefore, it's very important to understand that you will go through different phases, and that is absolutely normal. That is a part of dating. And sometimes you can feel discouraged, but please don't, because that's the hardest part. When you are going through the interviews, for example, for a job that you want, of course you will feel sometimes discouraged. Of course you will hear no's. Of course you will get rejections, but that is a part of journey. And when you realize that dating has the same type of atmosphere of rejections, of sometimes failures and mistakes, and that is all fine, then it becomes much more easier on your own heart than knowing that this all is part of this. This is a game I'm playing, and these are just different elements of the game. So you will get a bit more peaceful about it. So understand that dating, first of all, is an action. It is definitely a process. It is a journey, and dating is a skill that you develop. As more skilled you become in dating, as better your dating life becomes. So it is like in everything, whatever you practice the most, you become a professional in. And nobody was a professional, swimmer or a football player or musician without a practice. If you speak with them, they all practiced long hours. They all failed. They all had their own miserable times when they fell down, but they never gave up. And therefore also don't give up. Even if you are now in the middle of dating, or you're thinking about starting or thinking about stopping, the only thing I can tell you, never give that up until you find the love that you crave. And I would like to discuss that dating also has these different limitations that we take from the society or we put on ourselves, and you need to be aware, do I actually have any limiting beliefs? Maybe first of all I don't understand what dating is, or maybe I understand it wrong. So clear that out and understand that the dating is nothing dangerous, it's nothing terrible, and it is nothing negative. That is a process, it's a journey, it's a natural part of human life. Doesn't matter if it's a boy and a girl, or a woman or a man, and doesn't matter the age as well, because love is universal and we need love in any age. Building loving relationship, building family, raising your children, having that atmosphere of love in the family is absolutely normal. Therefore, don't allow anybody to put yourself down and say to you that, oh, this is not normal, you shouldn't focus on that, you should better focus on career. No, it is not true. You need to focus on both sides of your life. If you want to build a career, that is completely fine, but don't forsake your love life. That is a very crucial part of life in essence. And if you don't experience love, if you don't know what love is, then you haven't actually lived. That's why dating is something very beautiful. and don't allow anybody, to put a negative spell on it. It's like a rose. Doesn't matter how you look at it. You can say it's not beautiful, but a rose will always be beautiful. Any color of the rose will be beautiful. It just, if you sometimes don't have a mood, you can pass by and not even notice the rose, but rose is there and it is beautiful. So as you are, so as dating. So take it in a very positive way and become very positive about this subject. Take it on, taste it like a dessert, and actually allow yourself to enjoy this process. And also, I want to tell you that the most important part for you to understand what dating is that dating is courtship. Dating is not just for fun, dating is not just to waste time or kill time, but it is courtship above all. I would like to tell you that a lot of people do dating because they want to be validated. And it's very interesting. It is both men and women who do that to seek validation. This is the worst form. Why would you start dating? So if you are dating for any reasons to seek and find validation, I would like you to encourage and to stop that, because it will never lead to loving, balanced, and happy relationship. Seeking validation, it comes from the childhood. Maybe your parents didn't give you enough love, or maybe in school you were not taken care of, or when you were growing up you didn't get any support from your family or relatives, and therefore you are still lacking that fundamental core love aspect, and you are looking for validation in other people. But try to understand that strangers cannot validate you. If you are, especially if you're a woman, sometimes very beautiful women, they seek for this validation, and it can be dangerous, and they are in a street seeking validation, they're in clubs seeking validation, and that can damage their psychic, and it can damage their own self-image and self-perception, and as well self-esteem. Therefore, especially if you're a woman, stop seeking validation in dating. But also it is similar to men. Sometimes men seek validation of their ego or manhood in dating, because with every conquest that they get, they think that okay, they got the validation. But I would need to tell to both genders that validation will never have a core basis. It will always be shaken. It is like a wind blowing the leaf in autumn, and the leaf is you. So you don't want to believe that the wind is just blowing and you just follow wherever the wind blows. You want to be stable. You want to be the core of that tree. The leaves can fall down, that is fine. You change, things change, but the core of the tree, the roots of the tree, they're not moving because of the wind. So you need to find that core. You need to establish that basis of understanding what dating is for you. Why are you doing dating for yourself? So definitely don't seek validation. That will never lead to anywhere good. And definitely don't do dating just to kill time. Time is precious. Time has no, value that we can count. It is priceless. So never date just to kill time, or because you are bored, or because you have too much free time. I will tell you, it is 100% much better for you if you sit down and you just read the book, and you have maybe some interesting video on, or you are actually drawing something creative, instead of just going for a date with a person that you are not really interested in, just to kill time. So be very careful and cautious how you use your time. It is precious, and you are precious. And also, people are very different. You need to understand, why am I doing this? Am I seeking validation? Am I missing something that I'm trying to fill that hole in with something external? Am I trying to kill my time? Am I bored and I don't know what I'm doing? So these questions are extremely important. And if you're answering yes to any of them, and sometimes people say yes to 3 or 4 of them, which is, then then okay, this is not the right reason why I'm dating. So really step back and date for the right reasons. You should be dating because you are interesting to yourself, and you are interested in meeting other extraordinary people that you want to get to know romantically. Dating is not building friendships. Friendship is a completely different subject. Dating is completely different subject, and a marriage is completely different subject. They are all connected, but they are completely different subjects. And it is fine. We need to have them all. But make sure that you're dating for the right reasons. Make sure that you get enough validation from yourself, from your own self, from your family or relatives or friends, and then go for a dating because you are already filled with that energy of love. Not because you are seeking happiness or love or joy, but because you already have that naturally. You take care of yourself naturally, and therefore you go to share that happiness with somebody. They say that shared happiness is the most beautiful form of happiness because you can actually experience that with another human being. Therefore, ask yourself questions. Why am I dating? And if you are dating somebody right now, stop for a moment. Maybe don't text them right now or don't respond to the call, but think, why am actually I taking this step to date this person? Am I really interested in this person? Am I dating this person for the right reasons? And do I have an end goal in my mind why I'm going through this dating process? So definitely go through this and never seek validation, never waste your time, and understand that the most beautiful form of dating is courtship. In older times, when they didn't have these apps, people were dating each other with a very big purpose behind it. You would not really see a man and a woman in a street with each other because society, of course, people were less, but society was more cautious and more careful of what men and women are doing, because there will be always this romantical aspect involved. We need to understand that we need to be respectful to each other, and courtship, I think, is the most respectful form of dating. If you are a man and you take a woman on a date and you see this is not the woman I'm going to marry, then it's better to leave her alone so somebody else can take care of her. If you're a woman and you see this is not the man I'm going to get married to, or I don't want kids with this man, then also leave him alone. Don't drag him, don't lie, don't pretend that there is a future. Allow him to go because he will be perfect for somebody else. And this is what we usually don't understand. We don't understand that there is a perfect match for everybody. Like, when you have gloves, you have the right and the left. And if you have two rights, there is no chance you can wear them because no matter how you put on your hand, it won't go because you cannot have two right gloves. You need to have right and left. That's the same with a man and woman. And when you're also shaking hands, how hands go nicely together in each other. You can't shake hand with the same, hand, because it just won't, you won't you won't find a way how to actually shake the hand. That's why when people are shaking their hands, it's two different hands but fully beautifully matching each other, perfectly suiting to each other. And that's how courtship should be. Courtship is a pure form of dating when you are not involved intimately with everybody that you date, when alcohol is not involved in your dating, when arguments and scandals are not involved in your dating. When you go out with this person, courtship shows that I actually take respect in this person. I actually take care of how I am, how I look, what I do, what I say, what we do together, where we go, how do we show affection. Courtship is a beautiful form of dating, and I think in nowadays society, when people have a little bit lost their touch of what dating really is, they have lost courtship, and therefore we have less ladies and less gentlemen because we have actually gone wrong. It is like a train, going to the seaside, and suddenly it just turns and goes to mountains, and everybody as a passengers are waiting. Where is the sea? Why are we at the mountains? And this is exactly what we are doing. We want to go to the sea. So I'm talking about, it's a metaphor. We want to have love, and establish families. And we are actually taking a train that doesn't know where she is going, and turning and taking us to the mountains, which is not what we were actually, hoping for. That's not the ticket we bought for. The journey that we want is to the seaside. So why I'm telling you these metaphors, because through the metaphors sometimes it's way easier to understand. So if you want to be ending up in a seaside, don't take the train that goes to the mountains, or don't take the train that goes to the city center. The same way, if you are dating somebody and you can see from the beginning that your goals are completely different, then just, shake their hand or just smile and say, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for honesty that you told me what you're looking for. I'm looking for something else. I want to go to the seaside, but you enjoy your mountains, and I wish you best of luck. So it is very important to be kind and not get aggressive, because every person in a different times of their lives are looking for different things. I would say there are women who are always looking for the same thing, since they are children, they want to settle down, get married, and have their children of their own and have their families. And throughout the life, no matter if they're in university or they work or they have their own business, they still have that goal. And I really respect those women that despite everything and through the different ages they go through, different stages of their life, they still remain faithful to their goal. And therefore, let's respect these women, same as let's respect these type of men. And I welcome these men and women who are looking to court each other, who are looking at dating as a courtship, where they can get to know each other with a deep meaning behind dating. And in older times, we need to also remember that dating was a purpose. It was like a stepping stone. Courtship as a form of dating was a stepping stone towards marriage. People were not really hanging out together or spending time or going to each other's families just because they had nothing to do, or because they met online and they can meet another 10 people in the next month. They were doing it because they had a core belief that this is how things should be. They need to get to know each other to get to that level of settling down, building relationship and then getting married. And I wish it could be easier in nowadays society, and I need to admit that it is not. But that is all right, because you know what you want. And I'm here to help you to understand what is you want. But I will definitely suggest you to understand the real meaning of dating, and understand that the real and the only form of dating that is a pure dating is a courtship. When you really get to know somebody for it to lead to loving relationship and marriage. And it is up to you. If you want to choose that form of dating, you will be happy, because at least you know where you're going, you know where your train is heading. But never be this traveler with no end goal, because you can be 40 or 50 and you end up sitting alone and thinking, how did I get to this point that I wasted my life not knowing where I'm heading? And I remember when I used to live in Ireland, we had a huge event, and there were so many interesting people I met, and there was one gentleman that I particularly remember. When we had a conversation, we spoke about different things, and suddenly we touched this subject about courtship, about dating, and how different things are. And he said that, I never tell this to anybody because I don't really want to show my vulnerable side. But actually, he said, I'm 45 and I don't even know how did I end up here without family or a wife or children. How did I not know what my course is? How did I not do what I was supposed to do? And I really value that honesty, because men are not that emotional usually, and they're not that revealing their secret parts. But I will always remember that man and his sadness that he had deep inside, and I really hope that he met somebody that he's happy with now. But that conversation made me think that we can really be in that age, 40, 45, 50, doesn't matter. And we can actually stop and think, oh my God, I've actually not fulfilled my destiny and haven't done anything from what I wanted. So definitely understand what dating is and understand what dating is for you. Now, the next step, let's discuss how we can set the standards for our dating life. And we need to set the standards, and this is very connected, very much connected to the first point. When we understand what dating is for us, we also are capable to set the standards of how we are going to date. And I will tell you different forms, what people say about dating, what they're looking for, and I want you to spot in which group you are. All right? So the first group, usually it's a very big group, they say, oh, I don't know what I'm looking for. That's very sad, because I will tell you, if you don't know what you're looking for, there is no chance for you to find. You know, and I remember we were at the sea and we were just taking some nice time with the picnic, and I could see a man, you know, walking and searching for something. And then there was a lady passing by with dog, and he said, what? And she said to him, what are you looking for? I see you every day here. You know, you just walk. What are you looking for? And we can hear that conversation from like a little bit further away. We're like maybe 2 meters away, so very close. And he said, I don't know what I'm looking for. And I thought, wow, that's like in life, you know? Some people don't know what they're looking for. But I think from this story, I could understand that he comes to the sea, he's walking and he's searching maybe for some answers, or for maybe somebody, or maybe some, you know, revelation, and he doesn't really know what he's looking for. Therefore, it is so difficult for him. And I could see that people actually see him there very often, and they're just asking him, do you know what you're looking for? So yes, if you are one of these people, when people ask you, you know, maybe you're talking with somebody online, or you met somebody, you know, at the restaurant or at some show or event, and they're asking, so what is that you're looking for romantically? And there are people who say, I don't know what I'm looking for. And this is the biggest maybe issue of all, because if you don't know what you're looking for, there is no chance for you to find it. So if I'm going to give you these different examples, different answers, but I'm also going to link them. This is very interesting, by the way. I'm going to link them all with the same way how you would approach your career. Okay? This will make a lot of sense when I start giving you these examples. So imagine that you go online because you want to apply to jobs, and you say, oh, I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what role I want to apply. So tell me honestly, how can you on earth apply to a role that you don't know what role you want to apply to? It won't happen, right? So think about this. That is that funny. If you don't know what you're looking in a relationship, it equals to you don't know what role you want to do. You don't want what salary you want. You don't know which location you want to work. So it is blind walking. It is going nowhere. And that could be dangerous, because you can end up in places you don't want to be. So the first one is people who don't know what they're looking for. Big red flag, big danger, because it is dangerous for you. You will waste time going to the destination that you never wanted to go. Second type, it's a bit less danger, but still a lot of danger. These are people who say, oh, I just want to meet new people. That's great. We meet new people every day. You know, when we go for a tea or a coffee, when we speak in a restaurant, when we are buying clothes, or we're talking with our tailor, when somebody's making our hair or our nails, or when if you are a man, you are buying a shirt or buying a car or replacing an oil for your car, you meet new people every day. So how can that be part of what you're looking for in dating? And the same way, if you say at work, oh, I don't know what I really want to do. I don't know what kind of job I want to do, but I'm just looking to meet new people. Yes, you will meet a lot of people. You will change a lot of jobs, but still you cannot establish your career on that. So you see, the second also doesn't really work. And then the third is when people, this is very interesting as well, they say that they just want to have fun. You know, unfortunately, I don't know who started this, but word fun is something amazing. You know, kids have fun when they're jumping, and we have fun when we're doing something interesting. It's a very important word, and I don't know who took it and started using it in a wrong way. But if people are just looking to have fun, then it's definitely not the best category of people group to be with, because you need to understand that this fun is going on in their life with a lot of other people. So it's a huge pyramid under one person that a lot of other people are involved. And you need to ask yourself, it's of course it's a physical protection we're talking about. It's about protection from different illnesses and diseases, but also it's a mental protection. Do you really want to be involved in that pyramid of other people that this one particular person is having fun with? I don't know. I don't think so, you know. And this is, of course, a channel for people who want to grow, who want to be different, who want to have a quality lifestyle, and therefore we cannot be in the group where people are looking just to have fun, because it empties them emotionally, it empties them physically, and we know that through the science, through the generation, it is always discussed how much danger, physical and mental, there is when people have multiple partners intimately. So the same way you cannot as well approach your career. You cannot just say, oh, I'm just looking for fun. One day I will work in a restaurant, next day I'll try to be a director, third day I will just, do scandal in my new work. You can't do like that, because it is not serious and nobody will approach you seriously. So think about this. Why I'm connecting these two dots and why I'm making dating similar to your job, for you to understand that it is as silly as it is in your career. So approach this in a smart, wise way, because we are adults and we need to take responsibility for our lives. We are not children anymore that, we can break the vase and then hide it and say, oh, I didn't do it, or I didn't eat chocolate, So take responsibility. It is so important. And then another one is very common as well. I think you heard this. A lot of men say that. I don't know why there is a dominant in men. They say, well, I think I'm looking to date and see where it goes. And one time my friend went on a date, and that's exactly what the man said to her. And she was very into this man, and she said, can I ask you, where do you think it will go? Like, what is this expression? And she became very emotional, because she said, you're not the first guy who's telling me this. I really want to understand, what do you men mean by I will date and see where it goes? What do you mean I will see where it goes? When you are taking a train or when you are driving to some place, do you just sit down in your car and just drive and say, oh, well, let me see where I will go? No. It never happens. You have a specific destination. You want to get to work, or you want to get to shop, or you want to go to hairdressers, or you need to go see your family, or you're going to a hospital, or you're going to the pharmacy. You have end goals. You know your destination. It is very rare, maybe once in 10 years, you will sit down in your car and just drive and just enjoy the music. And even that has a purpose. You just want to enjoy the music and just drive where your eyes lead you and just relax. But in general, we never do anything without a purpose. We eat because we are hungry, and that is how we get our energy. We go to work because we want to do the self-actualization. We want to earn money. We want to be surrounded with people. We want to help others. Everything has a core. Every plant that is growing has its own meaning. Every insect has its own purpose. So never say, I will date and see where it goes. You can say, I want to date, I want to meet somebody, get to know them, and see if it can go to relationship or if it can go to marriage. But you can't say, and see where it goes. It means you are actually taking the responsibility off your shoulders and giving the power to somebody else. Never give your power to somebody else. Be the master of your own destiny. You choose what you want to gain from dating. You choose where you want to lead your life. And the last, and I think this is the most important, and I think this should be actually the only sentence that people, men and women, give to each other while they're courting each other in dating. What are you looking for? The reply should be, I want to build family, children I want to have healthy relationship, happy, balanced relationship. I want to give love and receive love. This is the answer. This is why dating is created. This is why we are getting involved with each other romantically. So erase all these sentences. I don't know what I'm looking for. I want to meet new people. I want to have fun. And I will date and see where it goes. These are, take them all, put in a bag and bin them away. Bin that from your system. and stop saying that. And if I will tell you, if you meet people who are saying that, be careful, because they actually really mean it. A person who says, I don't know what I'm looking for, actually means that. That's why if you are looking for marriage and he or she says, I don't know what I'm looking for, I'm sorry, but there is no match. Even if you're attracted physically, there is no match. So you need to say, okay, that's fine. I hope you find, I hope you understand what you're looking for. But, I'm looking for marriage, so I will need to go. And that is normal. It is like when you go to a job interview and they say, so what kind of salary you want? And you say, well, I want to do 5 million in a year. And they say, oh, well, we are paying only 100,000 a year. Well, it's a huge difference. And you don't need to know math to understand that this is a huge difference. So if you say, I'm looking for 5 million in a year, and they're saying, oh, well, we are paying 4.5 million, then you can start negotiating because it's really close, And if your roles usually are paying 100,000 and you go to the role, to the job interview, and you know exactly that these roles everywhere are paying 100,000, and suddenly they say, oh, our budget is very small, so we are paying only 50,000 a year. And you think, well, this role minimum everywhere where I would go pays 100,000 a year. Why would I settle for 50,000? Obviously this company doesn't have enough budget, but I'm not going to be that person who will take this on. You say, thank you very much, it was very nice to meet you, thank you for telling me honestly about your budget, but this is not what I'm looking for. I wish you good luck. And you need to be a little bit strict, And the same is if you're looking for a specific location to work and they say, no, you won't be based in here. You will actually need to travel, 10 times a month. And you say, I don't want to travel. I have 3 kids. I'm not looking to travel. So, and if you negotiate this and you still go to work with them, you cannot blame them because they warned you that you need to travel 10 times a month. And this is same with dating. If somebody's saying, I'm just looking for fun, I had a relationship and I don't want to have anything serious, and you hope I will be the exception. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Men as well sometimes hope. A woman is saying, I don't want a relationship, and he thinks, oh, I will conquer her, I'll give her this, I will take her there, I'll take her on holiday, give her gifts, and she'll change her mind. The women also do not change their mind. It's very interesting. So don't get involved with a person that you have very different similarities with. And approach dating as courtship, but also get your emotions away. Be logical in this, and you will thank me later. Because if you become very emotional, oh, I like him so much, or oh, she's so beautiful, I like her, then it won't help you. Because a sad examples show that a lot of people don't listen to each other in the beginning. And to be honest, people are very honest. They tell you in advance what they're looking for or what they are not looking for. And you need to be cautious about actually listening to this. Open your ears when you're in a restaurant, when you're on a date, and actually listen what the person is saying. Listen to them because they reveal the truth. Lastly, I want to tell you that you need to understand that dating is something you need to study and master, because dating is a skill. As driving is a skill, as swimming is a skill, as playing the piano is a skill, as writing is a skill, everything as a skill needs to be established, maintained, and developed. Have you noticed that since we are born in this world, we need to learn everything? Is there anything that you come into this world and oh yeah, when I was born, I was like 3 days old and I knew how to paint? Sorry, I can't believe in that, because scientifically it is not possible. Everything that you have done in this world, there was your first time for it, There was first time when you were having an apple. There was a first time, believe it or not. There was a first time when you actually felt fear when you heard some noise. There was a first time when you laughed, first time when you kissed, first time when you had, chocolate, first time when you smelled a rose, first time when you felt and, you maybe hurt your knee, first time when you were on the bicycle, first time when you jumped in the sea and you couldn't believe there is so much water around you and you are not sinking. First time for everything. First time of holding hands, first time of laughing, first time of crying, all emotions, all different activities, they are first time for that. That's why I understand that since we are in this world, we learn to talk, we learn to walk, we learn everything. So why do you think dating is different? Why do you think you don't need to learn that? Why do you think you don't need to study and master that? Why do you think that it is something natural that will be just thrown at you from heaven? And I will tell you why. Because through the generations, when, after, especially after the war, when money was so important, there was so much emphasis on being stable at work, reaching your potential at your career, getting the level at the career that you want, earning the money, sticking to the money, getting the property. And because of that fear, people forsake love part. They said it's not important. It's opposite. They were judging women. Oh, she only thinks about boys, or she only thinks about dating, or she only wants to settle down and get married. And people start judging it. So take an advance and think, do I have any prejudices? Do I have any limitations? Do I have any false beliefs about dating? Because as I mentioned in the beginning, dating is as natural as breathing. The goal of dating is the courtship, is to find your love. And there can be nothing more beautiful than that. That's why if you have any limiting beliefs, anything that is stopping you, ask, what is my limiting belief? And leave that alone, forsake that for good. And lastly, I want to tell you that learning, studying, is part of practice. When you practice, your skill as a dating becomes much more efficient. You become more diligent, you become more successful, sharper in what you do, and that can lead to results. Dating is a process, it is a skill, and when you do it successfully, when you practice enough, it leads to good results. And this is an amazing subject. We will carry on talking about it in the next part. Feel free to watch all parts in one time, or divide them, or come back whenever you need. And let's just summarize one more time that to be effective and successful in dating, you need to first of all understand what dating is and understand what dating is for you. Second of all, you need to set standards of your dating life and know exactly what is that you are looking for in dating and what is your end goal. And third of all, you need to study, master dating as a skill that will bring you to the results that you desire. Well done to you. I want to thank you for your time invested to find out more about this subject. If you would like to have one-to-one consultations with me, please contact me below. I will reply to you. And don't forget that you are created for a royal and beautiful life, and dating is part of this beautiful life. Lastly, I just want to encourage you all to smile, be happy, and enjoy life.